I don't know. Maybe Ken Evans does. Ken Evans, well, he's a technology officer, so he's probably not as frightened by those. Chief Technology Officer over at Konexial. Ken, what do you think? Have you gotten a delivery yet from one of those?
Dooner, I cannot say that I've gotten one of those deliveries yet, but those look very similar to the units that the University of Tennessee has delivering Grubhub type stuff to students. They're kind of freaky.
I noticed the orange in your logo. I think that
Oh,
might harken back to UT a little bit. They had a nice game
yeah.
over the weekend.
It certainly can, yeah. So it was a good weekend, nice weather. I'm sure it was in Chattanooga as well.
Now, so over the weekend, I was actually down in South Carolina. My dad was having surgery, and I was doing a little bit of research on you, and I came across one of your posts, and I want to mention it really quick because I thought this was just a really awesome story before we jump into everything, and it's how you and your dad did a B-29. Can you tell us real quick what you and your dad did on this? I thought the pictures were great.
Oh yeah, well, it was really interesting. The job I had before Conexial, I was working at Spirit Aerosystems in Wichita, Kansas, and was part of my team supported the restoration of this really piece of history airplane, right? So that is the plane that ended World War II. And so my dad, I found out it was coming to Knoxville, and I said, I don't really care, about the cost, but I bought two tickets on it and was able to take my dad. He's 93, and he just shimmied right up the ladder and got the master gunnery position in the middle of the plane, and we had a really great day.
Wow! Hey, a little cowbell for you and your dad. What an awesome experience you two got to share in that lovely aircraft that ended World War II. That's not all you do though. How about over at Konexial? What's going on with the newest version of the My 20 ELD app?
Yeah, so we just released a major update to the iOS version of our app. Android will be coming out in October, but it's a significant upgrade, and it's designed basically to give the carrier full control of the workflow, but also make the driver's job a lot easier. So one of the problems that we saw in our application and a lot of other applications is there's lots of functionality built into the apps, but it's not necessarily intuitive for the driver about what to do. So this actually kind of walks the driver through step one, two, three, four as he's going through the day. And the app basically it puts the what the driver needs to do in the form of just simple questions, based on what he's doing now, what are the things he's going to need to do next, and then makes it very easy for the driver, and the app handles a lot of the hard work.
Well, with innovation like that, it's no wonder that you're a Freight Tech 100 recipient. Gloat about
What
that
about
for
that?
gloat about that for a second. What do you think brought you over the top?
I think it's it's a lot of things, but I think the fact that we're one of the only companies, we don't really position ourselves as a hardware or a software or a services company. We're actually a user experience company. So best analogy for that is what Apple does in the consumer space, we tend to do in the trucking space. So the whole idea is that someone who owns or manages trucks can make one decision and get a all the levels of technology they need from one place in really a frictionless environment. So you don't have to spend lots of money and time trying to integrate a bunch of things. So it makes it very easy.
What I kind of hear you talking about here is driver workflow, and we don't talk about that enough. How does driver workflow enhance driver experience?
Yeah, well, so if you think about it, most guys didn't go to become truck drivers because they really dig doing paperwork and that kind of stuff. Most guys basically said, hey, I want to see the country. I like dealing with people. I want to, drive a truck and kind of be the as our friend Dave Nemo would say, the captain of the concrete, right? And so what we saw was a lot of new tasks being introduced to drivers who had been in the industry for a long time. And while those tasks are important, people need the documentation, they need the photos of what's going on, they need the status updates, they need all this stuff. There was just an ever increasing burden on the driver to provide that information. And we said, that's just not sustainable. The driver has way more responsibilities than he used to have. So let's figure out a way to take the technology and make it work for the driver instead of the driver working for the technology.
Interesting. So it seems pretty obvious, but what would the benefits of that be to fleet owners, fleet executives?
Well, it's interesting because this new app that we have and the loaded product that is being betaed right now, it basically provides all of the parties of the transaction with secure transaction based visibility or token based visibility. And it basically gives all interested parties access to view what's going on as the load executes live, but it doesn't require massive driver input. For example, a lot of the arrival and departure status changes or inbound and delivered status changes, those status changes can be automated with the advanced technology we built for geointelligence. So it's bringing what I call the live supply chain to life. In other words, when I tender a load to someone, the next time I hear from it shouldn't necessarily be delivered. I may need more information in between there. And instead of burdening the driver with providing that, this technology and this product stack can actually do that for the carrier and take the work out.
So, what drivers always want to know when it comes to cameras and data and apps is how does this all come together? How does the My 20 app, for example, and your cameras, your dash cameras, for example, how do they come together to increase driver safety?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, I mean, the cameras, what we're seeing is cameras are becoming a necessity in fleets. And there's multiple reasons for that insurance, liability, nuclear verdicts, all the above. And what we're undergoing is a change in the industry that's not unlike what we did in 2018, 2019 with ELDs coming into the market. And we see a lot of the same kind of I'm not sure about that technology. I'm not sure I'm going to allow that in my fleet or my cab or looking at my drivers. But what we're actually seeing is that almost everyone says, I want visibility of the road. I want visibility down the sides of the truck. I want to be able to exonerate my guy when something happens, when someone comes into his lane. And those are all great things. But the other thing that we're seeing is that you put that technology in, and let's say that you're not using the cab facing or driver detection technology. And basically, the first time you have an incident and it goes to a legal process or discovery, the first thing that gets asked is, what was the driver doing? And so what we see is the first step is people adopt the external cameras. The second step is they come back and they say, okay, I want to understand how AI can help make us a safer fleet by detecting distracted driving. So the system that we've put in place does a phenomenal job reducing distracted driving. We're seeing like up to 80% reduction in distracted driving within the first weeks of installation. So it's a learning curve thing, it's an acceptance thing, but at the end of the day, the people who are implementing our AI mesh camera system are becoming much safer fleets, and that's going to be a boon to their business.
Last time we spoke, you were really big on token visibility, right? We were talking a lot about token-based visibility. How does this new app help further that?
Yeah, so it's an instrumental part of that. So it's the new app and the workflow basically allows the carrier to configure, how they want their business process to work, and then the app basically automates that and again secures all that information, all the documents, all the statuses, all the path of travel, the planned route, the outer route, communications back and forth with the driver. All that technology is secured under that one unique identifier or token. And basically, they're free to share that with any party to the freight transaction. So it provides live visibility, just like you and I are talking on Zoom right now. You're going to have that same kind of capability with the truck while it's executing and ability to monitor it. So it eliminates all the check calls, all the phone calls. and all the work people do trying to just gather documentation.
Well, Ken, we want to improve some driver workflow. Of course we do. Where do we send people to get more information about this?
Yeah, so they can reach us at Konexial.com, Konexial, or just Google My20, or you can call us anytime, 865-888-MY20.
Ken, thank you so much. I appreciate your time today.
Hey, Tim, great seeing you, bud. Thank you so much.
Hey, go Big Orange.
Hey, go Balls.
And take it easy.